Hello class. So I know there was a lot of confusion about what we would do today, but going virtual today is not really disrupting our schedule because what we had planned wasn't exactly a hands-on in the laboratory kind of day. So please listen to this video in its entirety, peruse everything on Blackboard, and reach out if you have any questions. So what we're going to talk about is a project that you have in the lab as well as scientific information in general, because it is imperative that you all know how to find, read, and understand scientific literature, no matter where you're going with your degree, into research, into medicine, into veterinarian, into dentistry, into physical therapy. You need to stay current on the field, what's going on, and the way to do that is by reading these primary sources. I know you don't necessarily want to, but this is a necessary skill to have. So for this short introduction, we're going to talk about the project, the topics you can choose from, and the literature review / the annotated bib, which is the first or second deliverable for you to turn in. So as an overview, this project is on bioethics and how it relates to genetics and genetic research. So bioethics is defined as the study of ethical, social, and legal issues that arise in biomedicine and biomedical research per the NIH. Now, this encompasses so many things: medicine, the policies that you make, death, birth, cloning, you name it, it has some kind of role to play, and there's some kind of ethical issues surrounding it. So as technology advances, our capabilities are increasing, and sometimes it begs the question, just because we can, should we? Okay, we know how to clone. We can clone genes and DNA. We can clone small mammals and animals. Should we clone humans? You know, like we know that we can alter food sources in a way that it grows better or is more nutritious for us. Should we do it? So when most of the things that we're going to talk about is one of those, just because we have the technology, should we use it? And are there parameters or limits that should be in place to how or who we use it on? So here's a list of topics I came up with. If you don't like any of these, you can see the last thing says choose your own. Okay. So these are a lot of hot button topics in genetics and in bioethics now, from using CRISPR technology to growing organs to having someone create an organism or an offspring to be used for another child. Okay, the foods we eat and what it does to us. One, you'll see some things we talked about: gene dosing in athletes, gender testing of female athletes to see if they have an XY chromosome. There's a lot of health disparities out there, so if this is what you are into, you can choose a specific one, and that's what you will put. You won't put health disparities. Some new, if you're looking at current issues, so you can choose current issues. One are this increased mutations in astronauts. As they're studying those, they're figuring that out, or how ultra-processed foods correlate with colorectal cancer. Okay, so if you find some new topic or some current event and you are interested in pursuing it, please reach out and let me know. You will choose your topic and you will put the name of your topic as the title in your discussion post, and then I will approve all topics. Topic selection is due this evening. So you can use the class period to choose your topic or to research these to see which one you might be interested in. Then the next thing you'll do after you choose your topic is start to research it and complete an annotated bib. So for this annotated bib, there's an APA style or citation of the article. Describe the research question or the problem, what methods are being used, the minimum of 3 findings that are in the paper, and then what's the relevancy to whatever you read to you and your study. And you will do 3 articles, and they have to be primary source articles. Now, what does that look like? So on Blackboard, you will see that I have showed you these different types of articles. So the first one is something a lot of people do. This is more of an informational. So you research a topic, in this case heart disease, and you go on and Mayo Clinic or all these other ones, Johns Hopkins, different hospitals and things, put up some information about it. These are not articles, okay? These are not acceptable. This is just someone giving you an overview of information. These are not okay. Another you might run into is a secondary. So this is a secondary source. Science Daily, and some Science in the News, and some other ones that are posted. These are secondary, which means someone read the article, the primary source article, and now this is their interpretation of it. And so this is also not acceptable. But if you find one of these and you go to the bottom, they're showing you the primary source. This is very much so acceptable. So you can go to this primary source and figure out exactly what's going on in this paper. Then there are reviews. So a lot of times review will say on there, review article. So look for things like that, clues that tell you what type of article it is, because none of these are acceptable. With reviews, you see a lot of different information that they're talking about, but you do not see methods and results sections, okay? They're just telling you, hey, we're clumping together a lot of the information with these different titles or subtitles. And then this is a scientific article. How do you know? Some things you're looking for, structure of it. There's an introduction. There's results. There's methods, okay? Results and method things that they're telling you. Sometimes a lot of articles, depending on where you get it from, will say methods, results. If it doesn't have a methods and results section or tell you where to find it, you cannot use that article, okay? So this one in the supplemental materials, there's a methods and the materials that you need to go to. And then the results are here in the paper. Even though it doesn't say it, they are there. So to identify something as a primary source, here it tells you research articles, but you are looking to see that it has a definite methods and results section, okay? So those are the different articles you can choose from. I'm sorry, those are the different types of articles there are, and this is also on Blackboard for you, but you have to choose only those primary sources. Other things to note for your project. So also, if you go on Blackboard, you will see there's information on the annotated bib. So everything you need to know, some do's and some don'ts are there. And then also what I just showed you here shows you the project description. So what you can choose from when it's due, research the topic starting today, and by next week you'll turn in the annotated bib. These are the things to keep in mind. You're going to have deliverables from this project, including making a photograph. So everyone's going to do this. This is a custom image. How-tos are all on Blackboard. This is due on the 14th of March. You're going to take that and show all the information that you decided. Find out the background, the who, what, when, why, where, and how, random facts, any information you got during your annotated bib, and what you think about this. Do you agree with it? Do you disagree with it? Do you have a personal connection for it? Why did you choose it? All those things matter in this because it's about, again, you and genetics and your community and your family, okay? So what's your personal connection to it? So you'll take that information that you find and you'll create a project that you'll present to the class. Now, what that looks like is totally up to you. And so my people who want a hardcore rubric, you're not going to get that here. You are free to be as creative as you want. So you can choose a research journal where you're writing everything down in a magazine style, like those articles we just looked at. You can choose to do a podcast or a video where you're talking about it. You can do a news report video. You can interview someone in your podcast, like whatever you're feeling, whatever is your preference. Or a portfolio, which is like a web page where you're showcasing that information to the general public. And there are how-tos on all of these on Blackboard. And then as an extra credit for this, you can do an infographic on the topic. Okay, this is an optional extra credit assignment where you're just going to highlight or a snapshot of something that you discovered during your research. So if you take a look on Blackboard, you will see under your laboratory that there's the annotated bib section. And this tells you everything you need to know to complete that annotated bibliography. Gathering the information, the PowerPoint that I'll talk about next, how you read those articles, types of the articles, so primary informational review, secondary sources, where you can get started. So PubMed and Google Scholar and Bowie Library Search, these are where you're going to find your primary sources and your reviews. Secondary are going to be in these. Now, why do I put both? Because it's important that you get to read different types of articles. It's also important that you know where to find things and that you can differentiate between them. So if reading these secondary sources are easier for you, then you can start there. You can go to these secondary sources, research your topic, and then click on the primary sources that are associated with it. I also think it's important that you probably find a review about your topic, and when you go to the bibliography in the review, you'll see a whole bunch of primary sources on the topic. So there are ways in which you can find the information that's relevant. Then there's a scientific article that I chose and an annotated bib example. So a how-to. I went through each section to tell you what you should be writing where. and then the information sheet and where you will turn it in at. Okay. The other thing for you to note here, once you go back out for your bioethics project, when you click on it, there's the program description I just showed you. Then there's everything in Adobe. So Buoy has free Adobe, and you have access to all of these different programs. You'll go in, you'll make an account using your Buoy State ID. Okay, you have to click student or school account, and then everything will be free to you, and you'll go in. Here's all the due dates for everything that you have to create and a description of them. And now here's how-tos. Okay, so composite image, steps for creating it, tips for creating the information sheet. This is where you'll turn it in, and this is one I created using Adobe. Okay, the main idea here is that you're putting several different images together, and it will talk you through how to do these things. You will find this for everything. So the composite is mandatory. Research journal, podcast, portfolio, all at your disposal. So whatever way you want to do it, you'll just come on here and you can select it and you can work from there. So here's a portfolio I created. This is another composite image, composite images, what the research journal looks like. An audio video you can look at, so an example of a podcast, an example of an infographic. Okay, so this is, you can start here to figure out which way you think you might want to showcase your information. And then the last thing you'll see is that you will be presenting this to the class towards the end of the semester. Okay, so if there's any questions on any of these, please reach out and let me know so that I can address it and help you and we can work through them. Okay.